Good morning, grade 4. Welcome back to grade 4 mathematics class. How are you all doing today? Today, let's learn how we can add or subtract measurements of capacity. So just like in the case of lengths and weights, to add or subtract measurements of capacity, the first step is to write the given measurements in the correct columns of units, and then you can add them or subtract them separately. Now let's see that with examples. See the first question given here. Find the difference between 65 liters, 534 milliliters and 32 liters, 876 milliliters. So you are given two measurements of capacity here and they are in terms of liters and milliliters. So like we said earlier, the first step is to write them in the correct columns of units. So which are the units given here? The units given here are liters and milliliters. So let's draw two columns, one for liter and the other one for milliliter. The smaller unit is milliliter and the liter is the bigger unit. So let's write the given measurements in the proper columns. 65 from 65 liters go in the liters column and 534 milliliters. That 534 goes in the milliliter column. Here you are asked to find out the difference between the two measurements. So we have to subtract the measurements. So 32 from 32 liters go in the liters column and 876 goes in the milliliters column. Then we put the subtraction symbol. Now we have to do the subtraction. So now that we have them in the proper columns of units, let's start subtracting the numbers from the milliliters column, the smaller units column. So here in this column we have 4 minus 6. We cannot do that. So let's borrow from the next place. So this becomes 2 and this becomes 14 here. Now 14 minus 6 which is equal to 8. Now here it is 2 minus 7 which we cannot do. So let's borrow. So this becomes 4. This becomes 12. So now we have 12 minus 7 which is equal to 5. Now here we have 4 minus 8 which we cannot do. So let's borrow 1 liter from the liters column and then give it to the milliliters column. And remember 1 liter is equal to 1000 milliliter. So when you borrow 1 liter from the liters column, you are actually borrowing 1000 milliliters to the milliliter column. So here this becomes, instead of 5, here it becomes 4 and here it becomes 14. Now we have 14 minus 8 which is equal to 6. So now here we have in the liters column 4 minus 2 that is equal to 2. Then 6 minus 3 that is equal to 3. So what is the difference between the measurements? Here we have a difference of 32 liters, 658 milliliters. Clear? Now we'll see one more example. It's a word problem. This is from page number 135 of your textbook. Let me read out the question to you. A family consumes 342 liters, 736 milliliters of water in a day, while another family consumes 243 liters, 645 milliliters of water. Find the total amount of water consumed by both the families and also find which family consumes more water and by how much. So what is given in the question? So the daily water consumption of two families are given in the question. So first family consumes a quantity of 342 liters, 736 milliliters water every day, whereas the second family has a water consumption of this much every day. Now you are asked to find out the total quantity or the total amount of water consumed by both the families in a day, and also you have to find out which family consumes more quantity of water and by how much. So what is supposed to do here? To find the total amount of water, what can we do? We can add the two given measurements to get the total quantity of water. Now how do we find out which family consumed more and by how much? Just look at the measurements given here, and which is the greater amount? The greater measurement is the quantity of water consumed by the first family. So the first family clearly consumes more water than the second. And how do we find out by how much more they are consuming every day? How do we find that? we have to subtract the two measurements to find out the difference in the consumption. So let's write the steps from the data given in the question. So the first family's water consumption is equal to 342 liters, 736 milliliters. Now the second family's water consumption is equal to 243 liters and 645 milliliters. Now let's find out the total water consumption. It is equal to first family's water consumption plus second family's water consumption. So substituting the measurements here, we have 342 liters, 736 milliliters plus 243 liters, 645 milliliters. So now we have to add the measurements after writing them in proper columns of units. So let's do that within the working column. So here we have the measurements written in the proper columns. So which is the smaller unit? Milliliter. The greater one is the liters. So let's start adding the milliliter column first. So here we have 6 plus 5, which is equal to 11. 1 here, I carry over to the next place. Now 3 plus 4 equals 7 plus 1, 8 here. Now here we have 7 plus 6, which is equal to 30. So right now we have 1381 here in the milliliter column. So which is equal to 1381 milliliters. See, it is equal to 1000 milliliters plus 381 milliliters. See, this 1000 milliliter is equal to 1 liter. So let's carry over this 1 liter to the liters column and write the 381 milliliter here in the milliliter column. Just keep this in your mind, okay? So 7 plus 6 equal to 13. We are writing that 3 here and carrying over 1 to the next place. So what happens here exactly is that you are carrying over the 1000 milliliter or 1 liter from here, the milliliter column, to the next liters column. Just keep this in your mind. So here we have in the liters column 3 plus 2, 5 plus 1, 6 here. Now 4 plus 4, it is 8. Now here we have 3 plus 2, 5. So what is the total quantity of water consumed by the two families together? It is equal to 586 liters and 381 milliliters. So there we have the total consumption. Now how do we find out what is the difference in the consumption of the two families? We have to subtract the first family's water consumption and the second family's water consumption. So here we have 342 liters, 736 milliliters minus 243 liters and 645 milliliters. So writing them in proper columns first and doing the subtraction in the working column. Here we have 6 minus 5, which is equal to 1. Now 3 minus 4 we cannot do, so we are borrowing 1 from here. So this becomes 13 here. 13 minus 4 is equal to 9. Now 6 minus 6 equals 0. So in the milliliter column, we have 91 milliliters. Now moving to the liters column, we have 2 minus 3 here, which we cannot do. We are borrowing from the next place. So right now we have 12 minus 3, which is equal to 9. 3 minus 4 we cannot do, so we borrow. Now we have 13 minus 4, which is equal to 9. And then 2 minus 2 equals 0. So what is the difference here? We have a difference in consumption of 99 liters and 91 milliliters. So the first family consumes a quantity of 99 liters, 91 milliliters more than that of the family number 2 or the second family. So I hope this is clear to you. Now you have to go through this topic addition and subtraction of capacity in page number 135 and 136 of your textbook. And once you have gone through that again, please move on to exercise 9.6. You have to complete all the questions from exercise 9.6 in your notebook. And below the exercise, you can see the heading LS. Please go through that question as well. And the next page, page number 137, you can read about the genius Blaise Pascal under the heading Enrich Yourself. And there is also a maths lab activity in the same page. Please go through that as well and do accordingly. So children, I hope this was clear to you. That's all for today. We'll meet in the next class. Till then, bye.